Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and every once in a while I like to go around and clean up the city and talk about some of my future plans. And while normally that does need to happen because of the mess that I like to make when I work on the foliage or the rock work or rearranging modular buildings and things like that, there is surprisingly not much of a mess going on around here. And so I fired up the train to show you guys that going around because I haven't done that in quite a while. And so as you can see, it's it's behind the buildings now, but it's the Crocodile locomotive with a bunch of rolling stock plus the rolling stock from the Wild West train. And so figured I would have that going around because I haven't really done that in a while. So I get you guys a little bit more of a closer look here, and then we can go ahead and start to talk about the future projects that I want to be working on in the city, because there are quite a lot and we haven't done a video like this in a while. So with that, there is quite a bit to talk about in today's video, and so let's just get started on that, starting right now. So as the train goes by here, I want to start from this side of the city, and then we can work our way over. And so to start over here on the right, most of this is actually pretty much done. As you can see, the train coming through here. This main line is all good to go. The siding is all good to go as well. The only tiny details that remain in this entire side of the city is some of the ties on the tracks here, because I have been short on 1x2s and quarter round tiles and 1x3s and things like that. And I got them in an order a while ago and I just never got around to doing it because that's not really worth a whole video. So I was going to add those into a different video and then I just never did. So that is on the to-do list. And also in this area, the train station is over here. The train station, I recently took the clock tower off of the model, and that was because I thought it would look better without it, because I wasn't really sure if I liked the clock tower anymore. But after taking the clock tower off, I actually like it. I like the train station better with the clock tower on it. And so while I still don't think that having the clock tower is the right choice, that means that something needs to change. And so I am still trying to figure that out. You guys have given me a lot of good feedback, both on that video as well as some other videos that I've talked about it as well. And so we will be doing that. I don't know if we're going to add a full second floor or maybe just part of one, or we're going to redo the roof design. I'm not totally sure, but that is coming in the near future. So definitely stay tuned for that, and make sure that you are subscribed so you don't miss when that comes, because that is going to be pretty cool. Now, there is only one train station in the city at the moment, which doesn't technically make a whole lot of sense, but I'll touch on why that is later on in the video. But the rest of this area, if we come through here, is pretty much all good to go. I do just need to add some details to the back here. As you can see the mills plating that I use under these modular buildings, and I also want to get rid of this sidewalk right here because there's no sidewalk anymore. So I have to get rid of that, and that will come in due time. I'm probably just going to make one video about detailing the train tracks, so that's going to take care of this and that whole back section, along with these switches here with the odd shaped tiles and things for the ties, and then that is going to be pretty much done. So that's pretty exciting. But now let's move on to the next section of the city, and we can talk about some of the projects over there. All right, so I've gone ahead and stopped the train because I think the batteries are slowly dying on me, so I'm going to have to replace those pretty soon. But the Crocodile locomotive is actually pretty strong, and pulling all of that rolling stock there is relatively impressive. So I'm pretty happy with the train overall now that I've had it for a little bit now and I run it on occasion. I'm happy with it. I think it's really cool, and I am a big fan of trains, as I'm sure you guys can tell. But now that we're moving over this way into the rest of the city here with the buildings and everything, the town hall is another project that I want to be working on, and that is to make it into a double corner here with having wings on either side that help round it out here. And that is pretty low on the priority list, to be totally honest with you, compared to everything else. And that is simply because I would rather spend that money on a brand new building, whether that's an official set to review for you guys or making a custom building or something else entirely. And so I am trying to still figure that out logistically, because I would need to buy the dark orange brick. I probably need to buy the windows, and then also a bunch of gray brick as well, because I'm pretty much out of gray brick. As you can see, I used it here, I used it there, and I used it in the school as well, and I'm out of it over there. So I'm using it left, right, and center, and I just am using it faster than I get it, and I haven't really bought much recently, so that is pretty much that. But that is coming. That is going to just take some time to figure that out and also fill in the rest of the city, because I'd rather do that first. And then there is 2 base plates right behind it here. One of them is already missing, and those are going to be for custom modular buildings, as well as that one right there, and then that base plate and a half in the back. And so that base plate that's missing, I was going to make a video, which I think is actually supposed to come out the day that this video is going live, doing a whole modular building essentially challenge, where I go ahead and I try and make the build with only the pieces in my collection and without ordering anything. And so I didn't get very far on it, to be totally honest with you. That's why you're seeing a different video today. So that video is getting pushed back because I don't have enough of anything to make a building. I don't have enough brick. I don't have enough windows or tiles or literally anything. So I need to buy pieces. So I'm essentially failing the challenge already, but that's okay. I have a couple of ideas for how it's going to look, and so it's just a matter of actually making that happen. So I'm going to take my time with it. I think I'm going to design it digitally and then go ahead and start to physically build it, and then I'll make a video about that. So that is coming in the pipeline as well. But coming over this way, you'll see that this base plate and a half here has the boutique hotel and some other modular buildings on it, and then the half base plate in front. I do still need to tile all of this in and make this look better, because as of right now, this doesn't look all that great, but I'm out of tiles. And so I need to order a bunch of 2x2 tiles, and I think 1x2s and the corner tiles and a bunch of other stuff as well from Lego. But I'm trying to wait for double points just to make it a little bit more worth my money. So that's that. And then another project right here is the fire brigade. Originally, it was going to go in the back where that crane is, right on top of that tan base plate. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's right there. And then I decided to move it over here once we swapped these buildings around. And so I think this could look really good here at the end of this street here. And then we need to build up some buildings on either side of it. And I also want to move the basketball court closer to that street. So then that'll give me, I can move the police station down as well. Then that'll give me a full 24 studs on this side, and then 8 studs on this side for buildings, custom buildings to kind of round out the fire brigade. And this is just a placeholder just to cover the ugly backside of the boutique hotel. So that was why I had designed this building, but I think it's time for an upgrade for that. So that is also coming in the future. I'm going to skip over the expansion table really quick because I want to talk about the back of the city, because there is a lot going on over there as well. And so if we kind of go around the back side here, so you can see this main street here kind of centers all of these buildings, and I think this looks fantastic. Obviously, these 2 buildings here are not done yet, so I need to go in and I need to, I think, make a roof for this one. I don't think it's going to be 3 floors, but I want to extend this one out. Obviously, I need to finish the 2nd floor, and I also want to make a 3rd floor, I think, or at least part of a 3rd floor. It doesn't need to be a full 3, but I think at least getting it comparable to the height of the brick bank would be nice. And then we have this street over here. This whole thing I'm really happy with. And then there is this section right over here. Now, this section over here is a kind of mixed bag at the moment, because I have gotten a lot of feedback about the Arkham Asylum being placed over there. And a lot of people said that it should be over here instead, because in that video where we placed it in the city, which I'll put that on the top right if you haven't seen that yet, I went ahead and I tried it here, and I actually wasn't a big fan of it, but you guys actually seem to like it here a lot more than you did over there. Now, I wasn't a big fan of it just because I want to put skyscrapers in this back section here, so I wasn't totally sure how that would look. And so this base plate right here, if you move this over 6 studs, then this is a full, where the crane is right now, this is a full 48 studs right here. So then you can go ahead and you can make a custom 48 stud wide building. You can put the Natural History Museum here, or Assembly Square, or something like that. And then this would overhang a little bit technically onto this base plate, but there is still enough clearance for the train track. And then that would help kind of fill this space in just a tiny bit better. So I'm probably going to end up doing that, but I don't know what exactly is going to go back here. I would love to get the Avengers Tower, but that is $500, and that's a lot of money. And so if I'm going to spend $500 on one set, it's probably going to be Rivendell. I know that doesn't really make sense for the city and for the channel as a whole, but Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite franchises of all time, favorite books, favorite movies, and so I really want that set, and especially before it retires, and so that is definitely at the top of my wanted list, and so the Avengers Tower is going to have to wait. So this whole area is kind of a work in progress at the moment, both physically with the pieces and also with the ideas as well, because I would like to get the Avengers Tower, but I'd also like to make more custom buildings, because I actually had a lot of fun making the apartment buildings over there, and I do still need to finish those. Actually, there is a little bit missing from the top of that building on the left there, and I also need to make an interior, which I am still working on that, so definitely don't miss out on that once that video drops. But that pretty much covers this entire section over here, and one tiny little thing is that I want to add a gazebo or something, little man-made structure right here, just to help kind of round out this area and make this look more like a park. But that only leaves the expansion table left, so let's go ahead and start talking about this right now. So like I had said earlier, normally in these types of videos where I talk about the city and the projects and all of that kind of stuff, I go around and I clean up the city, because I usually leave a mess when I work on all these different projects. But I've actually been pretty good about it over the last month or two since the last time we did one of these videos. And so the city is mostly clean except for down here. Now this pile of pieces right here is from the train station, if you guys remember. Those are the pieces for the clock tower. And so I am probably going to be reusing those pieces to make a new thing for the train station. So that's why they're over there, because if I part it out and I sort all those pieces away, then I am never going to find them again. And I know as soon as I do that, I'm going to get the inspiration to make that. So it's just sitting there as a reminder to get that done. So there's that. And then this over here also served a purpose as well. This is a bunch of foliage that is going to be going in this plaza here. And so I didn't want to take it all apart and then have to rebuild it again. But I don't know. We'll see how that goes. And then as for these fences here, I actually don't remember where they're from, to be totally honest with you. These, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't remember why I specifically put them here as opposed to putting them away. So there's that. But the rest of the expansion table is actually looking really good. We have this track coming over here to the edge of the table, and then we have the water covering around here. And then on the other side, we have another spot for a train bridge and also a road bridge right here. Now, I'll touch on that in just a second, and maybe I'll even go in depth in a different video. So if you guys want to see that, drop a comment down below to let me know if you want me to specifically talk about the expansion table. I'll touch on it in today's video, and then if you guys want me to talk about it more, I can do that as well. But this table right here, I need to raise up these plates in here by 1 brick so that they're at the same height as the rest of this plaza here. And I also need to go in and obviously finish out the retaining wall and the water and stuff like that, but I am almost out of tiles and I am almost completely out of plate. So I have to go in and I have to buy some more of that. And again, more light gray brick, because this is where a lot of it went. And so that is pretty much that. But this is looking really good. I'm very happy with what I have so far. And then the rest of this area here is, dare I say, done. I want to redo the foliage over here and maybe add a couple trees and other things like that. But I think this is looking good. I think this is really cool. And the road right through here is also looking good as well. And we have the crossing right in the middle there, just so people can get from one side to the other. And then this parking lot here is going to be for like food trucks and other things like that as well. And so this is pretty much the rest of the table here. There's not much left to talk about other than trying to figure out a transition between the water, the retaining wall, the stairs, and the road. So I need to figure that out, but I have some space to work with, so I think it'll be all right. And then going to talk about the expansion table now. So there's going to be 2 train tracks, one over here that's going to go technically to the table, and then the train is going to go around the table and then come back on this line here and then go around the rest of the city, and then there will be a road bridge as well. And I don't want to talk too much about the expansion table yet because it is still in the works, but the expansion table, this main table here, is mostly modular buildings and city styled stuff, whereas that expansion table, I want it to be more nature stuff. I like doing foliage detail. I don't know if you guys could tell, but I like the custom trees and I like all of that kind of stuff. And so I want to do more of that. I also want to do more rock work and some mountains. And I will also have a second train station over there because there's only one here and that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I want to go ahead and I want to make a second train station in a different style because I've gotten a couple of ideas, but I don't want to totally scrap that one because I like the look of most of it. So it's just the roof that I think doesn't work for me right now. So I'm going to go ahead and put a second one on that table. And so those are some very tentative plans about the expansion table itself. And I've really only talked about the physical buildings and structures on each of these tables here. But I do also have some custom trains in the pipeline and also some other things as well. And so if you guys are channel members, then you've already seen those custom trains and I talk about the expansion table and other projects more in depth. So if you guys are interested in becoming channel members and getting exclusive videos like that, early access to videos just like this, members only updates, members only polls, and so much more, then be sure to become a channel member today by clicking the join button next to the channel name or the link down in the description. I would really appreciate if you guys did that. It helps support the channel so I can make more content just like this and all of the other videos that you guys see. But with that, there's not much left to talk about here. Those are most of the main projects that I have going on in the city in the back of my head, trying to figure out how those are all going to work. And so if you guys have any other ideas for me that you want to see me add, make sure to drop your comments down below. But I really appreciate you guys watching and I can't wait to see you next time when we start to implement all of those projects and ideas. But until then, thank you for watching and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye for now.